What we do generally to get someone on it, we've got different variation of protocols depending on whether someone is being rehabilitated versus a healthy population. So here we're dealing with a healthy population, so we can have their feet on the ground and no support necessary. So we're just going to get Ada to just jump your tailbone right up, just lifting up and sitting up on the end of the oof. Perfect. And you're going to come back down really slowly. And I'm just going to check where she is. Perfect. And for you to gauge where you are, if you're in the right position, we're going to take one leg up into tabletop and the other leg up into tabletop. Now keeping them up into, both into tabletop. And feel how you're wanting to lift off there a little bit. So we're going to take that leg back down and you're going to move up the oof. There we go. And to just give you a little bit more support into your lower back. And if you go up into tabletop, that's great. So she's comfortable into tabletop. Now we know we've got you in the right position. Okay? So what we'll start to have a little play around with is, first of all, because of the cutaways, if you just take one arm over the top in an arm arc and holding that there and coming back, and the other arm, you can really see how someone's scapula are free to actually move because they're up off the ground. They're artificially being stabilized once they're actually lying on the ground. So by actually enabling the scapula to move, we can initiate the scapular stabilizers. So now coming up, and we're going to take both arms over and just hold that there. And this is a great position because we're going to just get you to take a deep breath for me. And we're going to start to feel Ada breathing into your diaphragm a little bit more, because what we're really doing is taking out the ability for the secondary respiratory muscles to kick in, as you can feel. And you're going to start to feel your breath coming in a lot deeper into the abdomen. And this is, here we go. And this is such a nice position. We all also know with the research that this position also helps our body to reduce cortisol and increase testosterone, which is essential for both men and women. So it's such a nice position. We get everyone doing their breathing work in this position to get into diaphragmatic activation. So coming back up again. And now I'm going to get you to take one arm out to the side for me. And you can see that, you can feel that you're needing to use more stability because we're adding torque into the body. And now this is where it gets interesting. So we're going to bring your arms back up and we're going to take one leg up into tabletop. So straight away you can see this is not as easy as it looks. Yeah. And if you use a rigidity strategy, right, and your old strategies, there we go. We're just going to let Ada find that. Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay, so we're just going to, you're going to put that foot back down and we're going to transition you into, by adding another unstable device. So lifting that leg up for me and putting, So we're going to give her a little bit of support, but still something unstable for her body to learn and engage these lateral stabilizers and to find its own stability without me cueing her and trying to make her turn any muscles on or off. And straight away you can start to see the body's searching for it. Okay, so now taking one arm overhead, perfect. And back, and the other arm, great. And both arms. So we're doing Mat Pilates 101, and something that would really bore most people, we're going to take right arm out, great, and back, and now left arm. Whoa, it's tough, isn't it? Yes. So try that again. And what you'll start to figure out is that your brain is actually involved in a task-based learning as opposed to instructional learning. So straight away, she got better the second time she did that because she's learning, her brain's learning how to perform a task. And massive reward takes place when you start to figure this out, because the limbic system releases a whole pile of dopamine and serotonin, and it fires up and actually starts to wire or connect connections between all the neurons and embed this learning neurologically. And that's where the real change takes place, when you're actually working with motor control. So let's change legs for me. So coming up, great. And now going through the process again. You feel a little bit more stable on this side, yeah. And most right-handers definitely would be more stable on their left leg, because if we throw something or kick something, we'd use our left leg to stabilize. Great. Now taking both arms up. Excellent. And coming back. And again. That's really good. And coming back. So now taking the left arm out to the side. Yeah. And the right arm. Good. Much easier on this side. And that could be just as much as a left shoulder dissociation issue as much as a motor control issue that was going on in the previous one. So, or it could be both, because it's interesting that left shoulder, right hip sling is the one that you were actually compromised in. Yep. So coming back. So hands on the ground for me, elbows on the ground, sorry. Yep. We're going to start with elbows. If you need more support, you can use your hands. We're going to come up into tabletop. Excellent. And now into femur arcs. So we can really do the whole mat Pilates program, but we're taking very basic exercises. And trust me, these aren't not basic when you start doing them. And then you can do some really nice, coming back up, and we can do some bent knee fallouts. So I really like doing bent knee fallouts with you, because one, we're assessing the mobility of the hip and how one hip moves relative to the other, but also, number two, your clients get to feel the restriction in one side of their body relative to the other. And then it's a really easy connect to explain that hip's not moving so well, which means the other pelvis has to hike and move to get you moving. So then that's why you're getting the pain on that side, but it's the restriction of that hip, and you're actually giving them a very real experience of actually feeling that. And as well as stability. Yep. Great. I know, down feet, yeah, and you can do double legs, you can do obliques, which are really challenging. You can do straight leg stretch. You can go into double straight leg stretch if you're up for it. Yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough. You know, and then we can do some really nice work, bringing your feet down, and we're going to slide you down the oov a little bit. So you're going to come what we call down the mountain a little bit, and hands behind your head, and we're going to just do some really nice roll-up work. So if you're coming up and coming all the way up, we want those hips to hinge. And the oov really supports the lower back and helps extension into the lower back. And really you can see that the hinge move, and hips hinge really nicely. So from here we can hold. And now we can go into some lateral movements. That's great. And this is challenging. And this is, again, what you would do in a mat class, isn't it? But you can see her body having to balance on the oov the whole time. So taking one arm out to the opposite arm, and we can go into rotation. So we can really do all of the Pilates repertoire, but by adding an unpredictable, unstable device, we're challenging the motor cortex of having to actually control the trunk. It's challenging, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
And I like it because there's an internal heat that gets generated. It's a very different, and what we try to do is create a device that works you from the inside out, which is why we're having so much correlation with the Pilates industry, because that's actually what Joseph Pilates spoke about, is learning to actually activate the body from the inside out. And I think that you feel that if you use a rigidity strategy on this, you become less stable. So you have to use your deep stabilizers to stabilize and actually get those big global muscles moving.
Right. All right. I'm going to take this. All right. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for introducing us to the oov. And I am going to, if you have any questions on it, write it down in the comment section below. I know it is a very unusual piece of equipment. And if you want more information, down on the description portion, I'll have a link to where you can purchase this and where you can get more information. We'll make sure you put the link to your website on here.
Balance Body are distributing the oov in the US and Canada, and Polestar are running our education in North America for us as well. So all the courses will be promoted through Polestar, and Balance Body, and the product sold through Balance Body.
Perfect, perfect. And like I said, I'll have all that information down below so you can just go down and click if you're really wanting to dig in a little bit. But I look forward to seeing you in my neck of the woods in the San Francisco Bay Area. I know you're going to be all over the country, so he is going to be doing trainings all over the country. And you're from Sydney, and so we'll be seeing a lot of Daniel here in the next in the future. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank you. Become facilitators of movement rather than putting lots of information of cueing, which is very left brain, bad term, but left brain, and thinking too much about movement. And the best movement is in flow states and in the zone. And that's what we try to bring into our classes and our therapy and our one-on-ones as well.